Hi legends, today exciting news for all the Barbarians because I'm gonna do an update version of the new Tank Breaker build for Barbarian. This is a build that is such a big upgrade since the last tanky build I made. I want to say also thanks to Fexus and Sweetie PvPness because they actually sent this build for me to try, and oh my god, once I tried it, it is actually an absolute tank. You got the damage, you got the mobility, and above all, you are not gonna get CC. That's one of the biggest complaints that I see all the barbs, is that they say, you know what, I cannot perform in PvP because I'm always under crowd control, but not with this build. With this build, you're actually gonna be able to run with this Inferno 5 demoralized helmet that, you know, is gonna make your character attack automatically, and while you are like in this blind rage, pretty much it's just gonna be able to follow any target that is around. You're gonna be able to learn how to really master this, but we're gonna have the leap, which is gonna help you to really, you know, try to control the direction there you go. But once you start mastering this and understanding how it works, it becomes extremely powerful and extremely tanky. On top of that, we are using the leap, which is gonna give us an extra resistance. And as you see, I mean, I am just here, you know, pretty much like fence tanking everyone and having a lot of fun. So with this out of the way, I hope you guys saw more or less how it works. Let's go into the skills. We are using the of Berserk. This is going to be very important because the Bird Breaker, the damage that you're going to do whenever they attack you, is going to be one of the main sources. Then we're going to use the Demoralize, which is going to give you the Blind Rage, which is going to make you immune to crowd control and also do a lot of damage, especially if you are in the melee range. The Leap is going to be the main responsible for your survivability because it's going to add some shields. Also, there is some Affixes, which is going to add some damage reduction. And then we are also using the Undying Rage. I'm also going to make a version if you are a mega whale. Okay, if you are a mega whale, there are a version of this build that you're not gonna use the Undying Rage and you're actually gonna use the Chain Spears instead of the Undying Rage. So, but let's first start with the one for the most casual player, and the most casual player, it is or low resonance or the free to play. So with this in mind, let's go into the instances. The first one and the MVP instance, it is this one. Terror Unburden, Demoralize, send you into a blinding rage that lessens your pain, reducing the damage that you take while you are gonna go around and trying to attack. But if you wanna go in here and check it out, you're gonna see that you get a 35% damage reduction, which is really, really good. Not only that, you're actually gonna do some AoE damage to people that are around you and get some good damage out of this. Then on the other one, it is a dead slot, which means you're not gonna use it. Okay, there is no slot that you're gonna put here if you are the low resonance, only for the whales. Okay, so cross this across. Then we are using the Ramshackle Fight, this one during the Wrath of Berserk. Each time that you do the critical hit, it is gonna reduce the cooldown up to 3.8 seconds. This is gonna be very important because most of your damage, it is while you are in the Wrath of Berserk. So you're gonna need to have some crit. Okay, you need to have like high crit. I'm gonna tell you, I'm going more in deep, but around like 20 to 30% crit on your character should be really good. So you have the Wrath of Berserk and the Demoralized, always 100% uptime. Now here, one of the biggest mechanics that it adds a lot of defense, it is this Card's Defiance. Every time that you're gonna do the leap, you're gonna create a shield on yourself and it's gonna make you immune to knockback effects while it's active. So every time that you're gonna jump, you get one shield, and then another one and another one. Every time that you jump, you can jump 3 times in a row, and this is gonna add 3 shields on top. They do not stack, but every time that you jump is gonna renew the new one. On top of this, we have the Terrible Divine. This is an Inferno 6 ancestors that is gonna be very important for you to have, because now the leap will be able to allow you to jump 3 times and do some AoE damage, and it is one of the reasons why it goes very well with this, because now instead of having one leap, we actually have 3 leaps. Then we are using the Iron Tusk. Whenever the Demoralize hits an enemy, your critical hit chance, it is increased inside PvP, which goes and pairs really well here with the shoulder. So we have this cooldown reduction on the rat. Then we are using the Demoralize duration. It is increased by almost 40%, and with all these awakened slots, they are really important. So you have these cooldowns 100% uptime inside the Battleground, because otherwise you're gonna be CC and then you cannot do anything. So trying to accomplish instead your subsets to have your Demoralize 100% uptime, it is the key for success of this build. So Dishonored Blade, it is a must-have. And then the other MVP, it is the Barbarian. This is one of the biggest responses for damage when it comes to Barb inside PvP, and it is a beast. You know, every time you take damage, you're gonna start, you know, having the spin and do a lot of damage, and this is pretty much the build. When it comes to the set items, well, they are actually very interesting. So we are using here 4 pieces mountebanks for the extra shield. Have in mind, this is a tanky build, okay? As a tanky build, we are gonna try to do the most shields that we have and the most resistance that we have. However, we still want a bit of damage, and that's why we are using the Gloom's Guide. Every time you're gonna use the leap, you're gonna get the 15% damage increase, because, you know, you don't want to be just a potato. You want to also be able to do some damage, so you're able to kill all your enemies. And the other ones is gonna be the V2 Surge, a staple in any build. It's gonna increase the duration of your beneficial effects, so your Wrath of Berserk, your Demoralize, Undying Rage, and also your gems. So this is very important for you to actually be successful at it. The other one, it is gonna be here on when it comes to the gems. Well, I don't have a very good, you know, tanky gem slot, so I can give you here some alternatives, but this is what I'm using. Obviously, we are using the Crimson Behelit. This is such a godly gem, especially for the free-to-play low resonance. I'm gonna rank it up until rank 8. That's how many copies I got, because it's gonna increase your damage, it's gonna give you damage reduction, and above all, it's gonna give you the fear, which is really good for sometimes to lock them up. The other thing, it is the Bottle Hope I got here to increase the damage and increase the movement speed, but above all, I am using it to reduce a bit my skill cooldown reductions, so I can have my skills 100% time. The Bloodsoaked Jade is going to increase our damage, give us the movement speed. We're going to have the Rolling Consequence, increase our crit, burning damage, really good. Colossus Engine is going to make us increase our skill damage, increase our sight, so increase our movement speed, and also our skill range, and it's going to make you immune to knockbacks for 1.2 seconds. Really good. I love the Colossus. Like, I can see myself playing without the Colossus nowadays. Then we have here the Pain Clasp. Every time you're going to do continual damage, you're going to be able to increase your damage as well. Mother's Lament, increase crit to help with the shoulders and the cooldown reduction on your Wrath of Berserk. And then we have the Spectral Glass. Some gems that we can actually go and switch it out. It is, for example, you can use the Battle Guard, you can use the Spiteful Blood, you can use the Frozen Heart. All these gems are actually going to be really good for you, because they are actually going to add a lot to the table. So, for example, Battle Guard is going to decrease all the damage that, you know, the players, they do around you. So they need to be around like 3 yards, so you actually need to be on their face. The other ones, it is gonna be here the Spiteful Blood, you know, is gonna give you a shield. It's gonna be very good, because it's gonna make you immune to primary attacks. Obviously, not a lot of people nowadays use primary attacks, but you know, they are still pretty good. Another one that I feel like is really good is the Gold Firmament. Is gonna apply Firestorm, and also is gonna give you some evasion rating that can also come very clutch. And the other one, it is also here the Frozen Art. All these defensive gems are very good for you to actually be and try to be as tanky as possible. Other people also go with the Blessing of the Worthy, but in general, or even the Phoenix Sash in general, just try to see what you have and try to make like something that it will be, you know, a mix between attack and defense, but don't go like full defense and also don't go like full attack. Try to see what you have and you're gonna do very well. So another thing that you also want to focus, that's gonna be very important for you, it's gonna be to actually have some Terror Affixes. If you guys don't know what Terror Affixes, they are pretty much these special ability affixes that you can gain on your gear. And there are like 3 that are very important, and if you have one of those, but they have actually a priority. The first one, it is gonna be this Demoralize. This one, it is so good because you are always going to be in the demoralized form because you're going to be in that blind rage form, and every time that you're going to attack them, you're going to reduce the movement speed up to 80% of everyone around you. Have in mind that this inside PvP is going to be nerfed by 66%, but still you're going to apply a big slow on them, which, you know, is going to make them to be less likely that to run away. The other one is like if you want some extra damage, the Wrath of Berserk every time that you are in the form, and because you're going to be 100% of the time in the Wrath of Berserk, you're going to create these AoE explosions, which is also very good. And the other one that it also comes very clutch, and it's probably also one of the most important, is the ones here that it comes for the leap. So the leap, you can get a reduction of your damage taken up to 12% and stacks up to 48%, because have in mind all of these affixes, they can be stacked 4 times, and imagine 48%, and then you have to reduce the 66% because of the strife, but we're still talking about like some 18%, which is very solid. Like it's almost like 20% that you can get damage reduction. It is super important. Another substat that I want to bring here, because you know you actually have to try and stack them up, is the ones here from your reforges. Like these reforges here are very important, because if you see these, in my opinion, this is one of the best PvP reforge sets in the game, because we are having damage to loss of control, which we're gonna have because of all the slows. We're gonna have damage taken, it is increased by 1.5%, which is very powerful, because if you have all these things multiplied by 8, we are talking about 12% increased damage inside PvP, because it's not strife. Also, we have beneficial factoration, we have damage taken while suffering loss of control, it is reduced, and above all, we have also these damage taken from players, it is reduced by 1%, that if you have in all your reforge sets, you're actually going to be able to have up to 8%. Very powerful. The other one, it is the Jolt family. You have 2% of immobilize the target, and if you mobilize them and they are next to you, they're gonna get so much damage. Like every time it happens, it is actually crazy. So I love to play with it. In the past, I used to have the Vengeance also works, so you can reduce the damage taken from suffering loss of control, for example, damage to shields or attack speed. That also works, and you're gonna change the family. Personally, I feel like this one, it is more universal. You can apply to pretty much every class, and because every class is gonna take advantage out of this one. Then the next one, it is going to be here on the subset items. There are some substats that you also want to go with. On your bracelets, you definitely want to have damage taken from players is reduced. 2% here, you can also have 2% on the other one. And then on your rings, on your gloves, and on your necklace, you want to definitely have a skill cooldown reduction, movement speed, and damage done to players, or damage reduced from players. It is very important to see here. I have skill cooldown reduction, movement speed, damage done from players, skill cooldown reduction, and movement speed. And also we have here more skill cooldown reduction and damage done to players. I will say that for this tanky build, if you can get in the future and change these to damage taken from players is reduced, might be better. For me, I just take whatever I can get on this one, but above all, I want to have that skill cooldown reduction, so we continuously have our cooldowns 100% uptime. It reduces our undying rage, but above all, we want to decrease the Wrath of Berserk and also the demoralize, so we're always buffed up and always doing a tremendous amount of damage. Then here on the belt, you want to go always with the beneficial effect durations, and on your boots as well. So here I got very unlucky. I rolled these like 3 or 4 times, and I was like, man, I'm not gonna waste the resources here. Then here on the glove, on the chest, and on the pants, once again, beneficial effect duration. These actually ones you want to try to have. Maximum life is also quite nice. And then here you also want to try to have, you know, these the skills that I just showed you, because, you know, whenever you pair these affixes together here with these runes, which they are very powerful, man. Like having the right runes actually can also make you so much stronger in PvP, because like look at this one, you have the Fa, and you also have the Lev, which pretty much all we care, it is this your primary attacks will have a 6% chance of reducing the attack and movement speed of the target. So you can see how if you make them slow, they are not going to be able to tank you, okay? Pretty much, even if you go, maybe the only thing that it can actually beat you is probably Crusader, because they just have like the immense amount of damage, but you are so tanky that a lot of times, if you start jumping on them and stacking all the shields that I showed you from the leap, you'll actually be able still to survive. So very strong. So have in mind these runes are super important. Then you have other runes here. Which one? It is the tier. The tier is also going to be important, beneficial effects and attack speed. But if you are, you know, a stronger player, you can actually try to go with attack speed and skill cooldown reduction. Also very, very good. And the rest, you know, it is pretty much a nice to have. You can have the last, which is gonna gain an extra shield, and the zoo, which is gonna give you some critical hit chance, which is gonna be very important. Anything else besides like this one or the one that gives damage to you know, loss of control are pretty okay. Just slot whatever you can. The main ones you want to have is like these gold and these legendary ones on the main hand, so you slow them down, which is gonna be very important. Then on the substats, please try to go for the armor. The more armor you have, the more tanky you're gonna be, but also you want to try to have your armor penetration pretty high, so you are still able to output some decent amount of damage. Then we are also, of course, having here some potency and resistance. So if I have to give some priority for this build, I will say that armor and resistance are the priority, and then probably armor penetration and potency afterwards. Then here, as I said, you need to have some critical hit chance around like between 20 to 30%, so you are able to leverage these instances, so you can have your Wrath of Berserk 100% uptime. Then here on the cooldown reduction, always try to go for the highest as you can. I have 11%. As long as you can get up to 10%, probably it is the sweet spot. And the rest, well, the movement speed, you already know. If you're not running fast, they're gonna catch you up. And the good thing is this, you can actually stack as a passive up to 20%. So we get 10% from the Blood Soaked Jade passive, and then we are getting here from the gloves, and also another 3% I think here from this ring. I could slot in here if I wanted this other rune, which is the essay. It gives me 3% more movement speed, but I realized while playing that I really do not need, because whenever I go and I put my all my buffs, you know, the rat and the demoralize, look at my movement speed. I'm pretty much capped, like, right, I am at 67%, which the cap is 70%, so I am faster than most of the classes, so I realized that I didn't need it. So these are the affixes that you want to go for, so please do not sleep on these. They are very important. The other thing, it is going to be the Paragon. So this Paragon, it is if you are feeling comfortable and you are a whale, or you're a bit more higher resonance and you really don't feel like you need the cheat that, this one, it is gonna be very good. Just take the bottom right, you're gonna have extra shields, extra size, extra movement speed, and you're gonna, above all, is gonna be very important because you're gonna have always the shield. Also here on the legendary, the skill, you're gonna have the benefactor, but if you are like me, maybe a bit more low resonance, or you're trying to face whales and all these things, you're most likely gonna get a bit more value taking something like this, which is gonna be, the first one is gonna be the cheat dead. Every time that you die, every like 2 minutes and a half, you're gonna be able to revive on the spot. Then we are gonna have the first aid, which whenever you drop below 15%, you're gonna have like this huge bump of HP coming. That we are also using here the combat veteran to reduce the first aid cooldown, so it's not like super extensive. Then we are using here the grizzly veteran. Every time you're fighting a player, you'll have 4% more damage and 4% more damage reduction, and every time that you kill a player, these 4% actually become 12%. So this is actually super super good, because whenever you have all these damage reductions, this is whenever you start making a very tanky build and making, you know, a huge impact inside the PvP. Talking about impact, well, make sure that you're using the right room when it comes here to your warband. You need a protector with the block chance. I see some people using the wrong one sometimes. Then you're using these remnants. You want to have these ones gonna give you some damage taken reduce. You also want to have the Avil's Bench, gonna give you an extra shield, and then you also gonna have this one, the Prize Worn, which gonna give you more block chance. And above all, and if you only need to have one, it is Shepherd's Burden. increase life and also increase your size. The bigger you are, the faster you're gonna be, and it's gonna be above all super good for your performance inside PvP. Here on the familiars, well, there is only one that you really need. It is your savior pet. Okay, if you're doing PvP and you want to take PvP like very seriously, it is a must-have. Once you have the savior, it's gonna change your life. Try to have a pet that it has the highest resilience possible. So mine has 168. So what it does, resilience is gonna reduce the cooldown from 90 seconds up to 75 seconds for me. If I had this at 200, resilience will actually be 60 seconds. So like last 15 seconds will be insane boost. But for me, I mean, as a free-to-play, I cannot spend a lot of plat on having like the best pets, but you know, try to find a pet that has this, will make a huge difference. You go to the action house and try to get one. Then we're gonna have here something that it is really important, guys. Do not sleep on your curse properties. Most people don't focus on this, but it's actually super important. So every time you gain a shield, okay, on the nettle, so people think sometimes like the nettle gives you a shield. No, the nettle is only an effect that goes into your shields, that for the next 6 seconds, if you get hit by someone, you're gonna counter attack 40% of the damage. But it does not end there, because this is what we're really looking for. Whenever they get this reflected damage, they're gonna receive 16% more damage, and this is where, you know, even the tanks can start doing a lot of damage. Now you're using here the detested, which is gonna create a dark void beneath all the players, and since we're playing around the idol most of the times, it's gonna create that area. It's gonna create more damage output. You're gonna be able to hopefully crit and reduce the cooldown of your Rat of Berserk, so you can keep up always your things uptime 100%. So this is pretty much the build. I am enjoying it so much because it's really fun. It is really fun to play with it, and I'm sure like you also gonna have some fun. So here I want to make sure that this is for the whales. Okay, for the whales, you want to change your Undying Rage for the spear, because like this, you actually gonna be able to activate your chains and just roam around. You gotta be able to output this build. You need to be high resonance, and you need to have your barbarian like with a 4 out of 4 leap affixes, maybe with even like a 4 out of 4 demoralize. You're gonna have all these damage reductions and all these things, so you are able to still be tanky enough, so you don't have to need to have the Undying Rage. And like that, you're gonna be able to use and leverage the Shackles Fate, which is gonna create this chain spirit that's gonna come, is gonna grab everyone that is around you. Obviously they still nerf a bit the, you know, the yards of it, but it's still like very powerful, and it's gonna make you a power machine. Also, do not forget here, do not go with the gladiator, go with the brawler, change everything like this, and that's it. And you're gonna have a lot of fun. You're gonna be like extra tanky, and enjoy it. Try to see which one you're more comfortable. Overall, I'm just glad that we found out something that, you know, it is fun to play and is actually impactful, which is something that we could not say over like the past weeks. So I want to say thank you to my community, thank you to all the barbs, thanks to Fexus, to Sweaty PvPness for the, you know, sending me this build, and I hope that every barb is gonna enjoy it. Barbarian tanky is always like the most fun. So if you guys want to come by the stream, come have some fun with us. We are always trying to theory craft and find new things. So with this out of the way, you go and check it out. My new PvP build, which is like tremendous amount of damage. You're gonna use the whirlwind. You're gonna be able to destroy everything, and it's really fun. So legends, don't forget to like, subscribe, type chips in the comments, and I see you on the live streams. Peace.